socially, so many changes. We've had political stuff just for years, right? The COVID era. And I think people are we're just like, okay, another hit. And we got to catch our breath. How do you stay grounded in a world of chaos? How do we keep ourselves from going crazy, going mad? Well, we have to somehow look at our own circle of influence. What do you have influence over? What don't you have influence over? That's your first list. So draw a circle and put me, what can I control? And then draw another circle and put, concerns that I don't have any control over, right? There's a lot we don't have control over, but we'd like to. We'd like to be the only voter on that. But what has to happen for everybody to kind of maintain sanity and, maintain power is what I'm going to call it, is you do want to figure out what you can handle, what you can do for yourself to stay sane. It's important in any walk of life, even if there's not crazy stuff going on in the world. So what do you have control over? Well, mostly you have control over you, how you handle something, how you react to something. We do have control over our moods. We do have control over our feelings. We may not think we do, and some things are harder to control like that, I agree, but you do have control over how you're handling a situation. And then what is it you're going to spend your energy on? People always say, pick your battles wisely, and I think that's true. When you're in a battle, for example, you're spending your spirit, you're spending your energy. So it may be for resources, finances, time. Again, we don't get time back. We don't get our energy back. Maybe you get money back, but is it worth it? People are trying to figure out what to fight for right now in life. What do we believe in right now? And there may not be a lot. You can't believe in people wholly all the time. People are human. People are going to make mistakes. And if people are leaders and they're under pressure, they're going to, not always survive that. They're not always going to thrive. You want to put your belief in principles and something bigger than, humanity. We do need people to count on, but we can't always count on them. Have we noticed that? Absolutely. And so, if you're going through, for example, a betrayal or some sort of person that stole from you. I've got a client that he's been over $100,000. Some employee embezzled of his. And he's actually considering, what do I do? Do I press charges? Do I not? He's going to maybe just let the universe take care of it. I don't know. Is that the right thing to do? Is that the wrong thing to do? Litigious people would say, no, get an attorney, sue him, report him. Well, I think he has reported some things, but he's not trying to waste life force on this guy anymore. And, it's that kind of truth. When you look at the cost really of chasing down your money or chasing down your man or your woman, when you're chasing down trying to get something back, so to speak, what's it really going to cost you? Because it isn't just about money. It's about your time we never retrieve and our energy. And I think you can retrieve some of your energy, but not all of it. So really, what are you going to fight for in this life? What's worth fighting for in this life? I think the most important thing to realize is that you must have self-control over your emotions and your reactions. We talked in another podcast about, people that are on death row, and what they will admit is that they lost their temper in that heated battle over something that was so stupid. It was a girlfriend or whatever, and they killed somebody over, something they really couldn't get back anyway. But in the moment, it was their, how dare you? It was their ego, and they just had no self-control, emotional immaturity. And so they're young and they're on death row, and they'll never get their life back. That's what they spent their life on. So the most important thing I think we have control over is our reactions, like not letting ourselves get too reactive. Because when we're reacting, we're not in control. Something else has taken over. Our ego's taken over, or our panic has taken over. Fear has taken over, really. And if it's ego, it's all fear-based, right? Some sort of fear. So fear is taken over, and we are at the effect of the fear. But whatever we do out of fear really could cost us the time we've got left, our whole future. So what are you spending your spirit on? What are you fighting for? Is it really worth that? You want to maybe do a analysis, a cost-benefit analysis to see logically if this is really a wise investment of your time and your energy. I'm assessing my property. I'm assessing the stuff that I hoard. I'm moving my office to a new, beautiful office. I'm excited about it, but I've got to move from the old one. I've been here for over 10 years. So I've accumulated quite a bit of stuff. And I think, oh my gosh, and I'm not taking it with me. No, I'm taking some things I need, but not everything. And having someone help me sell it. Oh, what really, I'm just looking at a cost benefit analysis and I might just give it all away. Just give it all away. Just come get it. I'm more about, not wasting the time. I can make more money. I don't let money always dictate my choices. I look at, what I'm investing in, how much it's going to cost me personally with my time and my effort. And I think that might be, for me, the wisest thing to choose from is how expensive is it energetically for me? I think when you hit a certain age, and most people that are probably over 40 will agree with me that, some things just aren't worth the time or aren't worth the upset. Things don't have to upset us anymore. I would love to be at the stage in life where I just don't get upset at all, about anything. I do pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty slow motion when things are chaotic. I really do kind of get really focused and really clear and look around and kind of, really try and choose the wisest action in that moment because I don't want to get taken up by the fear and the adrenaline. I try to maintain equanimity in all places and all times. So what about you, though, out there listening? What about my friends listening? What have you invested your spirit in? What are you wasting your energy on? And what are you wasting your money on too? I mean, that's a factor. Those are all your resources. What are you wasting your energy on? Do you have the energy to waste on worrying about AI or worrying about, the politics? Is this really a battle you're going to win? Is this really a battle to get into? Are you even able to get in the battle? Or are you just, killing energy? And when people do an assessment, when I sit with them and I ask a lot of questions about where they're invested and what they're invested in. Is it people, are they getting rewards on all of their investments, emotional rewards, financial rewards, spiritual rewards. There's a lot of ways to get rewarded in life, not just financial. But even in that's part of you. That's your resources. That's your future. Money can help you set up a future. But it's really important, I think, to stop and do an inventory on yourself from time to time, to move yourself from time to time. It's really opened my eyes to what have I truly been investing in the last how many years and what I'm choosing to invest in the future. And I want to lighten my load. I want to take less with me, have less to worry about. I want to have more energy, lighten my load physically, losing weight, all these things, because I want to have access to my resources, access to space and time. I think having what freedom is to me is having, space, time, energy, focus, and money. But I think freedom to me is to be more clear-headed, to maintain my clarity. That is priceless to me. And, when I work with people that will work with me a little long term, I see people initially for the trauma they're in, the upset they're in, help them clear that. And they get their consciousness back. They feel okay. They feel so much better after they can start just processing what's in their way. And they figure out who they are in the middle of that. And when they figure out their identity again and they get clear, they're good. And then people come to me when they aren't good, and then I help clear them up. So it's funny. I have one client, he'll text me, "Hey, I need you to clear my channel." It's like, so cute. I get all these little coined phrases that are amazing. And so we'll be on a half-hour call. I help clear him up, and he's back, ready for the fight. But I think that's how life should be. I think that we all should be able to call someone, have someone to talk to. We can't do it ourselves. It's really hard to do ourselves. I can do it myself a little bit, but I still have a committed listener that I'll call and say, okay, I got to clear this, make sure I'm in a quandary. I'm stuck, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. What's my best option? And I talk myself through it, but a committed listener really helps that process go quickly. So I'm a committed listener to a lot of people. That's what I call clearing. I help you clear it. If you're really committed to, living a life without upset, living a life without the pesky disappointments or whatever, you have to realize that if you want to live a life without upset, life will not be fair. You can't want a fair life. You can't have fairness issues, right? Because it's not going to be fair. If you want to live above all of that, it just won't be a fair thing. Because if you want things fair, you're going to be stuck fighting. You're going to be stuck down in the trenches trying to, make sure that you get what's yours and it's even. Those people that when you go to dinner with and they're like, "No, mine was $8.17. I'm like, "Give me the bill. I'll just take care of the bill." And I'm not making them wrong. They're careful and they know where their money's going. That's fine. I'm just more about the experience. And I'm just more about making sure. I just don't want to sweat the small stuff, I guess. And I think that's a different level of life. It isn't higher or lower, but I think it's just more where my focus is. I'll do the math if I need to. If people really are committed to that, I will. But it's more about, again, what is it going to really cost you to stay in the fight for all this fairness? Some of these things are just never going to be fair, and it's already happened. So how do we go change the past? Well, we can't. Not even God can change the past. So really taking an inventory of yourself, I can help you do it, where you look at, where am I still stuck? What battle am I still fighting from the past? Are you still hating an ex? I'm not saying you should ever love them again, but just that you let go. I've got clients that won't listen to the songs that the ex-wife loved, and we're talking 70s and 80s songs. They get triggered whenever they hear these things. That doesn't have to trigger you. It doesn't have to bother you. You can actually decompress that charge. It's interesting because let's just say that song comes on. Oh, it's our wedding song. We dance to that song. Oh, the tears, oh, the anger. There's a charge. It isn't just the memory. Like you're going to always have the memory unless your memories are failing, but you're going to always have the memory of whatever there was in the past. But it doesn't have to upset you. What if you could actually eliminate the charge? It's like electrocuted, So when you think about that memory, it doesn't bring up the emotion. Or if it does bring up the emotion, you process through it and you eliminate that. That is clarity. That is getting clear. You're going to clear up your upsets. You're not going to be upset anymore. What would that give you? What would that open up for you in your life if you didn't have any more upsets? Right? Man, what if life just could be peaceful? Because if you're not upset, now you're in the present. When we're upset, we're not present. We're stuck in our past. So if you're not present, you're not generating from the moment. You're generating the past over and over again. And if you're upset, you kind of attract that vibe of upset too. You're tracking? So you don't want to live upset. You really want to live present. And when you're right here, right now, there is no upset. The truth just is. The energy just is. There's no trauma. There's no pain. There's no sadness. There's nothing. You're right here, right now. And that's how we create life. Because if I'm right here, right now, I can create a conversation. I can create a connection. I can intuit something. I can feel something. I can have an intention about something and manifest that. Because I'm clear. I'm right here, right now. And this world, I can see so many things that trap our attention, trap our power. Gadgets, scrolling, gadgets, videos, all these things, they just distract us. We live our life completely distracted, right? Most people live our lives distracted, especially younger generation. They've lived on a tablet or a computer or TV their whole life. I was guilty of giving my kids that stuff. I regret it all now. But, even social media, they're consumed with that. Like it matters at all. It doesn't matter. So to me, who really wins the race of life, who really gets the furthest is the person who can not get, side railed. It's like you're on your path in life, right? And then something comes up, a relationship comes in, takes your energy. You thought it was love. It wasn't. It was betrayal. It was heartache. What did you learn from that? As long as you're over here in that rabbit hole, you're not going to understand. You're not going to be able to create anything as long as you're stuck in that trap of upset. So you want to get not upset. You want to clear that, get back on your track and on your path because you're meant for something. Everyone's meant for something. We all have a calling. We all have something we're meant to do, whatever that is for you, higher power, Buddha, God, I don't care what you have as something bigger than you that you might have an allegiance to or a loyalty to. But once you realize who you really are, you don't have time to waste on this escapism crap. You don't have time to go get drunk. You don't have time to, to do drugs. You don't have time to distract yourself. You're busy. You got things going on. I don't have time for that kind of crap. I'm up to something. I'm up to making a difference. I'm up to communicating. I'm up to getting people honest and clear about who they are. And I would say, tell the truth faster. Just tell the truth faster because you know the truth. Don't let us try and pull it out of you. Just tell the truth faster. And this is what you've got influence over. This is what you have influence over in your life, is just getting clear about you and what your intentions are. I can't tell you how many heartaches I've helped people get over because that person, that you're with doesn't know what they want. I don't know what I want. I'm not ready for this. Not ready for that. I don't know what I want. Well, then move on because that person, their life's on hold and now you're on hold with them. They need to get clear on what they want with you or what you want with them. And if it's not clear, don't waste your time. Just don't waste your time. It's interesting because I think people, they put their lives on hold for a feeling, which again is a drug. Romance is a really big drug, you guys. It's a very big market too. Valentine's, diamonds, hearts, candy, chocolate. lingerie. All these things are like love is a big drug. Romance is a really big drug. And I'm not saying it's not amazing because we all get high with love, but it can't be a permanent state of existence. So when you're in a relationship, you got to realize that that feeling is probably going to lighten up or go away at some point because it's not eternal. The feelings do deepen and they change. And so it's a different kind of connection if you're going to grow it. But the early phases of in love it really is like a drug. Oxytocin, that hormone flows, you're high on love. And amazing because you want to have that to really fuel the connection and the love you have with that person. But you can't maintain that state. You've got to stay back in your world and getting clear and being present. And what really are you going to manifest and create? When I work with people, I say, okay, let's go 5 years down the road. Go 5 years in the future. How old will you be? What do you think you're going to look like? Just describe 5 years down the road to me. Who's with you? And looking from 5 years older, in that gap, that age, that era, look backward and kind of tell me how the last 5 years went. I know it sounds weird, but really, if you're standing in the future looking backward, what did you experience? What did you go through? What was happening, right? And what did you want to have happen? What did you want to, grow from? How did you want to improve yourself? Go to your funeral. When, you're 100, 120 years old, you're dead. People are at your funeral. Who's there? What are they saying about you? Did you have a family? Do you have children? Do you have grandchildren, great-grandchildren? What's the theme of your life? What were they grateful for? What do they acknowledge, in your epitaph? What do they say about you? What are they saying in private about you? Not that you are living for their opinion, but it kind of helps describe maybe what you want your life to be given to, what you want your life to be committed to, And this is what I'm saying is really, if you want to see yourself as an investor, but it's a soul investment, not just money. It's you as a soul are investing your spirit, your time, your energy. What battles can you lay down? What battles can you walk away from? What doesn't matter anymore? I can't tell you how many times people get court fatigue, battle fatigue. The court system works so slowly. And maybe that's by design so that you just work out your own stuff. I don't know. But people get battle weary. And then this is why mediators are kind of a new theme, because I think mediation can kind of go, okay, what can we agree on? What do we need to still divide up? Or, things like that. But I do think it's important to really assess where you're spending yourself, where your energy, where your time, all that, where your emotion is. And are you getting a return on your investment? And maybe you don't need to get a return on your investment right now. But I promise you, if you're not getting any return, if all you're doing is working and giving and paying, you're going to hit burnout. And I'm here when you do. You can come on in and we will look at what you need to let go of and quit fighting for, or whatever, But I do feel like people need to maybe pull back from the battles they're living or the worries they got no control over. Figure out what you do have influence over, and that's what you change. If you can't control the politics of your town, well, then control your weight, control your workouts, improve you, bloom where you're planted and get yourself figured out. And if you can't align with that, then find a place where you can align with. Environment's important. I think if people stay in the same rut, the same environment, a lot of change doesn't happen. If you want change the environment. It could be you change your couch. It could be you move the furniture around. It could be you get some new stuff in there or buy a new wardrobe. Change the environment. When you're in a moment of change with the environment, by the way, it's easier to make changes for yourself, just so you know. All right. Well, I've loved this chat with you. Thank you again for listening. Do a little assessment on what you're wasting energy on, what you're, storing you don't want to store, and lift yourself up by lightening that burden, lightening that load. If you like help with this, I am available. You can find me and book with me on my website, healwithkimile.com. That's HEAL with KIMILE.com. Thank you for listening. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And send me comments, send me things. If you want to email me, you can from my website. I'd love to hear from you. Please continue to listen and share, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.